Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to Broadcast to Post, KeyCode Media's series, hosting industry professionals discussing broadcast and production technology topics that you care about. Today, we're talking about how to build your own subscription streaming service. I'm your host, Jeff Sengpil, Chief Technologist here at KeyCode Media. We've got a jam-packed episode today featuring an interview with Spence Bovee at Edge TV, discussing how they've been able to create and distribute stunning long and short-form content as a subscription-based OTT service. We also have the folks from Vimeo in to just demonstrate how simple it is to deliver great content over Vimeo's OTT. Please stick around at the end for a live Q&A with you, the audience. Before we get to streaming and how you can get your message to folks, let's start by diving into what I've personally learned about the OTT and subscription business models and how it's being leveraged by film and TV professionals, online content creators, houses of worship, educators, and content owners, creating new ways to engage audiences and build out new sources of income. Before the tech, let's talk a bit about the business of messaging. We've been involved with many different ways to get your message to those who want to receive it, our audience. You're my audience today, and we thought about how to get this message to you. Radio and then television began as advertiser-supported business models. The program's message is produced to be delivered for free to anyone that could hear or see it. The costs of making that happen were paid by advertisers, companies that wanted to pay others to carry their message and be associated with the program being broadcast. With the advent of cable TV, the idea of a subscription-based service began. This is content that the viewer wants to see and are willing to pay for that content to be produced and directly delivered to them. Some of this content is free of advertising and delivers uninterrupted. We are now in the digital age, and when programming is delivered via the internet, it's referred to as over-the-top, OTT. Many televisions today have the ability to directly receive internet-streamed content without the need for a separate computer. Smart TV apps are installable on most televisions available today. And now you, yes you, can be a channel on one of the many app stores. You have content you know your audience wants to see and is willing to pay to get it to them directly. You need the conduit to get it to their screens and the methodology to send the latest iteration of a monthly cable bill. So where is the sweet spot of how many followers versus how many dollars to start my own subscription service? The core thing to consider is the message itself, the library of your content. What is the demand for it? How does it grow? And do you have a market for it already? A bit of audience research is key, determining via social media how the demand can be changed from just interest to reoccurring revenue. Remember, if you have 10 days of material, a subscriber won't need a second month. I still haven't yet met anyone who's finished Netflix. The market worldwide for these OTT services is projected to reach $332.5 billion in the next 5 years. There's currently over 300 different services out there. But when you take into account that 46% of OTT customers are more than willing to pay $10 a month to avoid advertising, that subscription model makes a heck of a lot more sense. And it hooks your viewers as well. The average OTT user watches more than 2 hours of content every day. There's certainly eyeballs to be had. Also, OTT isn't just locked to apps on a TV. On average, each house in the United States has 12 internet-connected devices. And OTT consumers spend more than 6 hours per day on mobile devices. And what about live events? My phone lets me know about most car chases in town, if a band is jamming live, or my favorite professor is lecturing, or even if my pastor is starting his or her sermon that week. And suddenly I click on that notification and bam, I'm watching an OTT stream. This is becoming one of the primary ways audiences are watching content. The stats show viewers watch a live event 8 times longer than an on-demand show. I know I'm hanging out to see if that RV can escape the highway patrol. So once you know that you have content everyone will want, you need to determine what will they pay for it. Ask yourself these questions. Are they more likely to pay a larger sum for a single pay-per-view event? Will audiences be willing to watch a set amount of advertisements before the content? Do I have enough new and archived content to justify asking audiences to pay a monthly subscription service? What is that price my audiences are willing to pay? You may want to consider surveying customers or doing some market analysis to help answer these questions. Like and subscribe isn't just something that I say. It informs who's engaged with your brand and your message. By the way, like and subscribe now. We're going to take a quick break and return with our friends from Vimeo.
This is the story of the greatest audiovisual integrator and reseller, KeyCode Media. They're a pretty amazing group of people. The KeyCode Media team can tell you everything that you need to know about thousands of broadcast vendors and how it connects to your production infrastructure, instantly bringing 100 years of technical experience to your business.
With Avid Nexus, you've got a number of connectivity choices you can have.
Like our engineer Jeff Sengpeel. Jeff's team will walk clients through design and installations every single day. We'll help you find the right thing, even if it's not the most expensive.
If you're looking for a more compact solution, we could check out the Carbonite Ultra to better fit your needs.
There's also RVK, the master of storage, or Grace Nahera, the logistics extraordinaire.
We are showing the equipment's on time, and the tech will be there first thing in the morning.
Oh wait, we almost forgot Zuri. She's from our finance team. Now you've seen five of our 80 employees collaborating with customers like yourself, helping businesses across the United States from our multiple office locations. Customers like to do business with KeyCode Media because when you purchase it, you know it's going to be set up, you know it's going to work, and you know that if anything goes wrong, we have your back. So the next time you're buying a widget you're not sure about, installing digital signage or conference room, integrating a fly pack, upgrading a machine room, or building a stadium, classroom, or studio, call us and we'll pick up and make sure it works every time.
All right, we're now going to invite Vimeo to get into the details of OTT and the services they can provide people like yourself. Vimeo has a cost-effective platform that allows many different ways of getting your message to your audience. Let's find out how this works for a business that might just be a lot like yours.
Hi, my name is Andrea Berry. I am a Director of Sales on the Vimeo Enterprise team. Today we're going to talk about Vimeo OTT. What is Vimeo OTT? Well, a lot of people reference this product that we offer as Netflix in a box. It's a little more flexible actually because it can support live streaming content and different monetization models than just subscription. So while subscription is our bread and butter, we also do really well with transactional video on demand so that you can sell content a la carte or either a singular asset or a collection, perhaps like a season from a TV show. And we also support live pay-per-view content, which is really exciting in a COVID world. And we also support free-to-view content, whether you want to launch a free-to-view channel or manipulate content in a windowing strategy where you offer some content for free for a certain amount of time. All of these models are really flexible and they're actually at no change of cost in any package. So creators and content owners really appreciate that because they're able to consistently innovate, test, and try new models and grow their service based off of analytics and reporting. Now, I want to start with showing you a customer example. Video is really complicated, as we all know, and So before we go into more of the technology components and differentiators, I want to show a visualization of one client. Here is one of our oldest clients, Megahertz Choice. They traditionally were a DVD shop, which is really interesting. They decided to be innovative, to approach streaming with a more progressive mindset. And so now this is their #1 source of revenue. You can see that instead of their landing page showing DVDs and a la carte, physical goods, it's now directing them to sign up for the subscription product. This model is really great. They offer a subscription, all you can watch experience, or for those who maybe aren't willing to subscribe or make a commitment like that, Megahertz Choice does a really great job of offering a la carte purchasing as well. So I'm scrolling through the template experience that we power. A good way to think of Vimeo OTT is it's like the Squarespace video network. So it's very easy to use. You don't have to be technical. You don't have to depend on engineers. And there's 22 templates that you can choose from to get started with. Now, of course, you can build your own website from the ground up or make custom tweaks and changes to our templates. But most of our customers find value in the template out of the box, and it's completely pain-free. They have zero maintenance. All of the updates and maintenance of this is included in every package. So to scroll through and just quickly show you what I meant by TVOD is you can see here at the bottom of the page, they're offering TVOD packages. So they, for users or people who might be testing the content, they have the opportunity to purchase a season, a collection of videos without having to commit as a subscriber. So it's low commitment and it's another source of revenue stream for them. What's great about this template solution is it's mostly, I think the best way to describe what your day-to-day responsibility is of this system is editorial. So your focus is going to be on what you do best, which is content and strategy. Well, we take the burden of technology away completely. This is one of our main templates that we like to use. Megahertz Choice inserted the content, the copy, the graphics, the price points, even the coupon code definition. We support coupon codes, referral codes, up to you of how you'd like to leverage them. But what's great is they are able to change these swim lanes even in real time. So if there's a marketing event coming up or maybe a curated collection of videos that wants to be promoted by a brand, Megahertz Choice or any of our clients can go in and tweak the names of these swim lanes, switch the content in and out as they see fit. Another good example of somebody who changes their content consistently but actually doesn't add any new content is Martha Stewart. I really like to show this example because this shows how a client who maybe has an archived set library, valuable content, can still manage a subscription business and have value and put out that perception of fresh new content. So what Martha Stewart does here is I think just about every 3 months or so, they update the whole look and feel of the site. Because it's a template approach, it's super easy. They're able to go ahead and switch the swim lanes up, change the copy, text, content in there, and present it in a timely or relevant manner. So right now you can see this is very COVID friendly and focused. The last time I logged in here, I think was Easter, and she had all the Easter content that was supported. But my point is that this is all changeable on the fly, and any changes that are made within this system, they automatically will update across all of the apps. We even handle the sign up flow here. You can see I'm not a subscriber, but if I click in here, I have the option. This is all part of the template solution as well. Now, I've showed you the Megahertz website. I just like from a visual perspective to show you that we are also powering these apps as well. Feel free to search for these apps in any of the app stores on Roku, Amazon Fire TV. But what I wanted to show out are a few things here. This is the developer account name. Now, everything that we do is white labeled. So you can see the domain here is white labeled. but even the developer account is white labeled. So we help you create that account, and then we get added as an administrator so that we can take over the maintenance and updates that are required with every app on your behalf. So you will truly never be boggled down or burdened with this. And this is at no additional cost. This is included with every package, and it's very much in tune of that partnership approach. Vimeo OTT focuses on the technology component of a direct-to-consumer experience. We aim to remove that as a whole so that you aren't burdened with technology or dependent on a team of engineers to have a successful strategy here or streaming solution. So we believe there's 3 pillars to any successful direct-to-consumer video experience. That'd be content, marketing or audience, same thing, and technology. So you can see in this visual, we are that technology component that will empower you and help you focus on content and marketing. So you don't have to become a technology company, and your responsibility day to day falls with what you're good at, content and your audience. I really like this quote from Nate Daniels because he's a CMO, and you think about the particularness that a CMO is going to want to have with their solution. Now, they were on a custom solution with a traditional online video provider. And what he said was, you can spend so much time and money developing something that's 95% the same, or you can save time and money with Vimeo OTT. Now, they were able to save over 7 figures annually when switching to our solution. And what that enabled them to do is then go ahead and reinvest some of that savings back into content and marketing. They saw over 300,000 new signups in the months following Vimeo OTT's launch. And their app score went from, I believe it was a 3.6 or 3.7 up to a 4.6 in a very short amount of time. Now, this is a visual of all of the components that we're providing as a solution. Think of it as Vimeo OTT in a box. Most companies out there may position themselves as being this complete solution, but you'll soon realize, for maybe somebody more technically savvy, is they're dependent on integration points. And I call these the Frankenstein solutions, because ultimately they may be stitched together through an API or a business development integration. But over time, that's going to become technical, upkeep, maintenance, and those costs fall on you for the customer. So not only from an app, from a maintenance and update perspective of how complicated and expensive that can be, but think of it as there's more vendors to take a piece of the pie. So the model is going to be more confusing. There's going to be more variables to manage. But, I always joke with Vimeo, there's one person to call up and get mad at. But in all seriousness, every account comes with an account manager. You're going to know them by name. They're going to work closely with you. They will be accountable for all of these components. So what happens with the other Frankenstein solutions is they start to point fingers and cast blame instead of focusing on solutions and resolvement of issues. And so that really reflects back to our partnership approach. We're in this with you, we have skin in the game, and we want to ensure that you are successful so that you're with us much longer. A few things to call out here are, the app development. We maintain the apps, we update the apps at no extra cost. You own the developer account, you own the clients, the customers. We simply get added as an administrator, and then we update the apps as needed at no extra cost. We also manage all of the payment and processing, so we're able to even offer a lower credit card processing fee than typical vendors would direct. And that's really impactful because that allows us to, what you see below is support the end users. So we manage and handle all end user customer support. Since we are processing billing, we can help with any kinds of issues with payment processing, anything like I forgot my password or I can't figure out how to open the app on my phone. Anything technical, we will be that first line of defense for you. Again, back to that partnership approach. We don't want to have you burdened with anything technical. So I mentioned that we power the apps. The web experience that you'll be managing from an editorial perspective day to day powers all of the apps. So any changes that you make will be updated to all of the apps. We recommend launching with the top 6 apps here. Xbox and Samsung Tizen are newly added to our platform, and they're great for global distribution. But frankly, we see a lot of the signups take place in the top 6. So for somebody looking for a more walk, run, fly approach, we recommend launching with these top 6, and you'll see here, 43% of subscribers sign up through these apps. Now, we launch 1,000 of these channels. We've aggregated the data on the subscribers, and this is how we found this number. So across millions and millions of subscribers, we have found that 43% are coming from the apps. So, there's options to launch with web, but we really do stress that it's important to launch with some apps to capture those subscribers. 4.8 stars is our average app score, which is so exciting, and we're proud of that. What's important about the 4.8 average app score is, yes, of course, users will like the interface more, but when you're thinking about discoverability, it's actually required to have a 4.5 star experience to work and to have the algorithms in those app stores work in your favor. So if you have a 4.5 app score, you're much more likely to be discovered from people searching for content that's similar or similar channels, and you're much more likely to be promoted in their store if you're above that 4.5 threshold. So our user experience on the web is very much editorial. It is designed in theory like Squarespace. So you can see here, there's some templates to choose from. We offer from about 20 at any given point for you to leverage as your own. You can see here are all the components that you're able to tweak. You can see that there's ways to turn on forums and commenting. You can set up the price points, the products, the discount codes, referral codes, and we manage the rest. So you're up to define the product, to set the look and feel, branding, copy, text, and then we'll manage everything else. Vimeo's OTT analytics are the best that I've seen in this space. I've worked in online video for 10 years and I've never seen anything like this. We launched them last year. It's so exciting because they're AI driven. And what the value is you're going to have real-time value of costs of like lifetime value of customers, churn management tools, free trial conversion, but what gets me really excited about this is the insights to production. And I know the KCM audience will really appreciate that because your focus and your bread and butter is very much on the production side. It's so important to understand what revenue content is yielding.
So that's it for now. Thank you so much for having us, Key Code Media. We will be back later on for the live Q&A. See you then.
Thanks, Vimeo. Vimeo team will be joining us later at the end for a live Q&A. Please submit any questions via the Vimeo, Facebook, or YouTube chats. We're now going to jump into a previously recorded interview that I did with Spence Bovee, CMO of Edge TV, recorded earlier in this week. Edge TV is an adventure lifestyle streaming service built on Vimeo's OTT robust industry-leading technology, and is currently available on Roku, iOS, Android, Chromecast, and edgetv.com. I found our talk with Spence to be fascinating and full of tips that will be useful to any production or business looking to consider adding a subscription service model. After the interview, we will be back live with Spence and the Vimeo team to answer all of your questions. Cue that interview.
In every human endeavor, there's an edge beyond which few dare go. A self-imposed boundary that lies just outside one's comfort zone, found somewhere between dreams and reality. Join us as we journey to the edge with captivating adventure lifestyle entertainment. Edge TV, available on iPhone, Android, and Roku.
I'd like to introduce Spence Bovee with Edge TV. Spence, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about Edge TV and what you guys do?
Good to be here. Edge TV is an adventure lifestyle streaming service. We entertain and inspire, taking viewers on journeys to the edge We produce and distribute stunning and vivid long and short form content. And that genre includes action, sports, travel, adventure, lifestyle.
All that stuff that I would rather just watch other people do than try to do myself.
Exactly.
Perfect. Let's get into the tech of this. When you realized you needed to build an OTT website, where did you start that process? Did you get a hold of web developers, broadcast professionals? What did that look like?
It was really about finding the best OTT platform that would support not only the website, but the apps as well. And the team has had a previous OTT and content streaming experience, as well as years of television distribution.
Very cool. So the thing I've always learned is after you get everything done, there's always a punch list. What was something that you learned post-launch that you didn't expect, kind of a cautionary tale for folks?
Vimeo just has so many features. So to get started, you're sort of like, what are mission critical features that we needed to launch? And then what do you need to do to sort of add those other features that are beneficial to the consumer? I think probably one of the most surprising things was just the abundance of data. There was lots to see about the viewing behaviors, what's being watched, when it's being watched, and countries, and there's just a lot of data that could get processed on a given week or month.
And I'm assuming Vimeo was really helpful in getting that all coagulated for you.
Yeah, they've got a great system. It's amazing just the turnkey nature of it, and the content management system, and ingesting all your content, and your images, your video, your metadata, descriptions, and then it's populated on every app that you've launched on.
Cool. Well, speaking of apps, what apps did you launch with, and what made you choose those particular ones?
First built out the website, and the difference is the website has a homepage, and then past that, our watch page is identical on all the apps for the most part. And so we started with Roku, iOS, and Android, and that's based on just our own analysis of the marketplace, but also Vimeo really was helpful on saying, hey, here's where people are downloading the apps, using the apps amongst their client base.
So when it comes to how content is paid for, what made you choose a subscription model rather than a advertiser supported model or a video on demand model?
We've evaluated all of them. I think a few years ago, they were definitely apples and oranges in terms of the viability. I think AVOD with Pluto and Tubi and the rest of them have come, serious ways, obviously through their acquisitions, kind of tell you they've got something there. For us, we're looking at all of them. We have a really great library and great content in the pipeline, and so subscription makes sense for us, but we'll be able to, and we're having discussions with advertising-based ad-supported platforms as well. And I think it's finding the audience with the content that you have. And I think right now we're starting with the subscription. The other great thing about Vimeo is that we can do transactional video on demand. So that's another business model that out of the gate you can try there. And I believe they do some AVOD, but I think it's a different animal in terms of trying to get those ads fulfilled or getting that pipeline for ads. So, but I think they're great for SVOD and TVOD. I think they're really, really strong. And it's down to programming, pricing model, finding that audience.
Has Edge TV had any experience using Vimeo's live platforms?
We've not executed on live. It's there once we figure out what's the best project to do live. I have a healthy skepticism personally about live and the need for something to be live, and it's got to be the right content with the right reaching the right audience and engaging with that audience that necessitates appointment television. But we are definitely interested in doing live with them. We just have not found a project that we really want to put all the effort behind to do a live event for.
Understandable. A lot of gear, a lot of people, a lot of moving parts, and in the land of COVID these days, that's a little difficult to wrangle at the moment.
Exactly.
What does your day to day look like as it pertains to how the system works? Who's managing the day to day, and how technical do you actually have to be?
So it's pretty simplified for us. We have a team that deals with the programming side and dealing with the assets and the metadata to get it into the system. And then it's really marketing and looking at the different aspects of what Vimeo can do within the system on marketing and then externally. So it's really day to day, it's really marketing driven. And then as we release content, it is programming decisions. But there's featured banners, and so those are marketing decisions in conjunction with programming to say, hey, what programming should we be featuring at the different levels and the different parts of the app.
The interesting thing, though, is your answer at no time mentioned anything about anyone's technical need to be able to operate the system. And it sounds like
I ignored that, and that's because there really is. It is so easy to use. They have unbelievable support and documents. So you start with the documents, and if you don't, it's really they're all written really well. And then if you can't grasp it, you then can contact your rep or just support the enterprise support at Vimeo, and they're very quick at turning around and walking you through the process and showing where you should have gotten it from the document. But it's really I can't believe the level of documentation that supports every aspect of the service.
How much content do you recommend getting starting with? I mean, how big was your library when you began this adventure?
Ours was hundreds of hours, numerous series, documentaries. I think there's other guidance that Vimeo will give you in terms of what you need to launch and what you need to be programming with on a given basis. But our content is a balance of long form, what you could call traditional length television, and then short form content. And so I think it's a mixture and a blend of the type of content and the lengths of content. And then that's sort of how you look at it. But I think if you look at the Vimeo clients, there's various flavors of in terms of the content size.
Very cool. What are your marketing plans for the future?
Well, we are fortunate enough to have a good social media base to leverage. And we also have contributors, which are our influencer creators. And so not only are they producing content for us, but also they have a following as well that helps. And we've started an ambassador program where we get regular content promoting the service. We also have newsletters that we're sending regularly, and then we're doing additional advertising.
So all of the avenues are being
there's no easy there's no easy idea. It's a lot of things in the marketing envelope to be trying.
Awesome. No silver bullets.
Silver bullets.
With your industry expertise, what do you think the most valuable part of Vimeo's OTT solution has been for you?
I think if you have a library of content and you have unique programming, the platform makes it very efficient to build out. And then it's about marketing and the continued programming. And I think that's the challenge that smaller streaming services do and larger streaming services have as well.
Cool. Any other final comments before we get to the presentation and the Q&A?
No, I think that's about it. It's just been it's just amazing what their content management system can do, and just impressed with not only that, but support when there are things that we look at and say, hey, can we do this or do that? It's either in the system or it's on the roadmap. So they're very attentive to making this successful.
Awesome. All right, now we're live. Let's get into some Q&A. Let's just toss this first one out there. Richard from UNLV is asking, attempting to create a pay-per-view live stream, any insight as to a host provider and or service for this? We can produce the stream and send to YouTube. However, we want to offer a PPV service for live event streaming. Either of you want to take that?
Yeah, I'll take it. That's exactly what we're talking about today. So you can launch a live pay-per-view experience, whether that's web only or on apps. If you want to launch the apps, keep in mind the apps will take about 90 days to build out and publish. But definitely drop us a line. We're happy to connect and talk more about this live pay-per-view event. We have customers who do this with a library backing, or they're just doing singular live events. And that is the content they're offering on a per event basis with even no video playback after the fact. So lots of options to go about it that way, and looking forward to chatting with you on that.
Awesome. And then Sally is asking for Andrea as well. What are some common mistakes you've seen OTT channels make?
It's a really good question. And we definitely have a few years behind us to look at customers, or I should say people in this space who have made mistakes. And I think that's why we've built out this solution the way that we have. So I mentioned before, there's 3 pillars to a successful strategy: content, audience, and technology. And the most common mistakes people make is either underestimating or overestimating one of those pillars. So for instance, a potential client of mine that I've spoken to in the past, they've built out a very custom 6 to 7 figure cost platform. And when talking to me, they said they regretted the fact that they invested so much in technology and custom features that then they forgot about leaving budget for marketing and even content acquisition. So you could have the best, most custom feature-rich solution, but if you're not focusing on marketing and content as well, it's never going to go there. So think of those 3 pillars, equate them as all important factors here. And that is why the budget and the model that we have is very compelling. It allows our customers to go focus and invest in marketing and content resources. That's a really great question.
Yeah, if you're inventing a new wheel, but you're not spending any money for the road for it to roll down, that's going to be nowhere to go. Quick question for Spence. Vimeo has several web layout templates. What led HTV to select the design you're currently using? Are you seeing any benefit to the choice you made?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head which one we picked. There were different features and different layouts that prioritized things on our website. So I can't think off the top of my head why we picked, but it was definitely the feature sets that we needed. Again, our approach is getting them as quickly as possible to a viewing experience. So you want them to be able to quickly discover. We've packaged it in 3 genres, but the template really allows them to scan through and see what they want to watch, see a trailer, subscribe, and then go find that content. I think one of the other nice features is the ability to download from the app and have it offline. Once we get back to traveling, it'll be good. So anyway.
Yeah, and I'll just add on
probably the best one to talk about what the template features are, since we picked one and we've been focused on that.
Yeah, and it works for them, so they haven't changed it, but it is really easy to test and change, just similar to Squarespace, where you might want to test everything you've already populated. If you want to test another template, you can preview what that might look like for you without publishing or committing to it. So it's really easy to use. There's we are always updating them, but generally speaking, there's always about 20 to choose from.
Very cool. Vinny is asking, do you have an example of someone you work with that has an AVOD and SVOD tiers using Vimeo OTT?
It's a good question. So we focus on subscription. We do offer AVOD. At this time, we don't have a pay to remove ad experience. The AVOD world is very complicated, especially in a COVID world. We've seen a huge decline of revenue coming in from AVOD clients. In fact, we're seeing, and I'm working with clients right now who are looking to switch from their AVOD model back to subscription. It's much easier to build $1 million recurring revenue business with a subscription model versus AVOD. When you think of the waterfall of gross revenue and the payouts that are required with AVOD, if you even get the fulfillment, it's really complicated and you're left scraping together, the dollars. And also subscription, and where this really is valuable is around niche audiences and communities. And so, as consumers, if you're paying for a service, you want to feel part of that club, very much like a Patreon mindset of like, I'm contributing these dollars to the community, to the brand that I belong to. That's really our sweet spot, and that's where we're focused on. We have AVOD prioritized on our product roadmap. We don't sell against our roadmap, very different from video vendors. And to be honest, with the COVID world, we've prioritized other areas like around live pay-per-view that we just launched, because we see these features and development on the roadmap to be directly in line with revenue for our clients. So it's kind of a long-winded answer, but today it's either or, AVOD or SVOD, and we definitely stress the value of SVOD and transactional video on demand.
Excellent. Anthony is asking, he missed the beginning. You can always go back and watch it a little later. But what is the preliminary budget for this?
That's a really good question. And so we have different models. So, we have packages, that are formed to be a good bang for buck, at certain pricing tiers. But at the, walk, run, fly approach, we have more revenue shared based models to get started with when you're kind of testing maybe this as a channel. But if you're an existing channel, we have a really great scaled model as well. We try to keep the pricing very simple. I've worked at lots of video companies before, and I love this model because it's easy for my clients to project the revenue of any fast month or slower month of growth. They know exactly what their costs are going to be. We blend variables together so that it's just these three factors. One is a SaaS platform fee that covers the maintenance, the support, the update of the apps. That's, the features. Do you need live streaming? Do you need, which apps do you want to get launched with? So that's the SaaS platform fee. And then the other two variables are simple. It's storage measured in hours. So we blend in the transcoding cost to that to keep it simple for you. And then bandwidth. And we have pass-through rates. A lot of the packages just come with a massive amount of bandwidth already. And, for anything above and beyond that, we have pass-through rates of the industry. So, that's not where we're making our margins, which is very different from that.
I think we've had a technical glitch from Andrea's feed. Let's do a quick.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Looks like you're back. The fun of the world of COVID.
Yeah. Do you want me to take another stab at that? I can kill my video. That might help.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, good. So I'll start from the beginning. Our pricing model is flexible. If you're getting started and you want to do a more bootstrap approach, you can launch with web with a revenue share model. And then you can add apps as you go. And pricing is really simple. We have a SaaS platform fee that will cover, the support, the maintenance of the apps, the updates of the website, all of those things. Based off that SaaS platform fee, do you need live streaming and apps? And then from there, that's a recurring cost that stays fixed. And from there, it's storage and bandwidth. So just those three variables. Our bandwidth is pass-through rates. We're not looking to make margins on these things, which is very different in the space. And storage is just measured in hours. That blends in transcoding costs, again, to keep it simple for you. So packages start at, let's around the 12K mark a year. And they go upwards from there based off of your needs and your existing channel. If you have an existing library and existing subscribers, we can scale with those approaches, or we can take a new, fresh approach with newer services to have a little bit more of a rev share run rate.
Awesome. Spence, question for your ramp up. How long did it take to get the OTT platform set up for you guys with Vimeo?
It would have been fast. We had our content on another platform, so there was ingestion on our side that we had to deal with some technical issues, but it's pretty fast. It's all about the time to encode. So I think it's going to vary on obviously how much content you want to launch with, but we had a large library. And so you're not only ingesting the content, you're ingesting the metadata. And so we're migrating from another platform. So there are different issues, but I think you're starting from scratch and you have all your data, logo, and all your assets, all your metadata. It's very quick to upload of what you want to launch with. And then you can keep adding and ingesting, more content and massaging that. Not only the metadata, but the descriptions and things like that. But all those things are important to have the right thumbnails. But once it's there, it's bulletproof. I've not seen any technical issues on that side at all. And from another surprise was, real quickly, the magic link. So how often are you forgetting a password on a website or your app and you're like, oh my God, I got to reset my password. They have this lovely magic link and you hit a button, it sends you an email and click on it, boom, your app is back and logged in. So saving graces.
Yeah, that's a great authentication tool we have. Typically, we guarantee that apps launch in 90 days, assuming you're responsive and working with us. But I've had clients that have launched, like on Roku, for example, in 30 days. We can share some homework for you if you're eager to get started during, while we're negotiating and contracting. But it's really easy to do. We're there with you if you don't want to do that homework ahead of time. There's just a few things that are out of our control, like the App Store submission process. We've done this over 1,000 times, so we're very good in knowing how to navigate through that. But there are some things like that are out of our control. So if you already have a developer account started, that already shaves off a few weeks from a 90-day timeline. So it's 90 days for apps and about 30 days for web.
Cool. Question from I'm Tony Teach. Is there an ideal number of subscribers needed before considering OTT for Roku, et cetera, versus just, using YouTube?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And it's a good time for me to call out, YouTube should not be seen as a competitor to us. Ultimately, there's value there, especially if you have viewers there. Think of it as more in social in general as a funnel back to your owned and operated site. So like fitness customers will do a first Friday free live stream.
We're losing
50 minutes and streaming to the site, or you're putting content in front. Oh, I'm going to kill my video there. Hopefully that helps. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. And so I was saying it should be a funnel back to your owned and operated, and there's even ways to manipulate the content to allow people to watch free in front of the paywall. Now, there's no really set number. If you want to launch a subscription offering, we recommend doing so with about 50 to 100 assets. But even then, that could be less if you're more so a teacher, educator, and it's more educational videos have a lot of value tied to them without the need of a backed library. So, I would say as soon as they're willing to start paying is when you should get started. You can start with, I think, transactional video on demand is a good starting point to lean into and validate that people are willing to pay for the content. And then from there, you'll be able to get metrics and understand the user's behaviors to see when is the right time to launch with the full subscription.
Andrea, I'll dovetail on that. I think you can think about traditional windowing of content. And so if you've got
Right.
if you've got a set, you've got content, a library, you offer a portion of that sort of as a gateway on YouTube or other platforms, and then tease them with, all right, you want to see this other, the next episode is available, test the TVOD,
Right.
and then have a programming strategy that you would window from, that AVOD even to TVOD to subscription. And then you build your audience from there.
Right. And it's a really good point. I think that, traditional broadcasting in general, there's always things to be transitioned into the subscription world. So we support things like live linear playback. Trinity Broadcast Network has 15 live linear channels going at any point. I think that's going to be a new trend that we see, similar to Pluto, to aggregate linear channels and to offer that, because it's really difficult sometimes to choose exactly what you want to watch. And so our best customers do have a mix of live and or video on demand, and they do a good job of what Spence is describing of windowing, which frankly is a traditional strategy, and it should be leveraged in this new streaming world more.
Awesome. Question that popped up here. What about using Vimeo for audio only and or radio content?
Yeah, podcasting is huge for sure. We get this question even with fitness, probably more so before COVID when people were in the gyms, but we do audio only where, if I pull up a workout and I actually don't need to watch it, I just need to listen to it. It will continuously play even after my phone goes to sleep, so I can still listen to it, work out with them with the audio in my headset. Now we look at audio. There's ways to add on extras to video. So if you want to add an audio file or PDF file to associate with the video, but I'm assuming this is more like a podcasting question. We look at that as a video asset. So you can, essentially just upload the file as it would be a video, with graphics or a standing still graphic, and let it play back. But to the audience, it's audio, but to us, it's just another different version of a video file.
Cool. Two questions that I think I can blend together. Dee was asking, I have courses that I created for outdoor education. Any idea how much content I would need? And then any examples of educators or churches setting this up as an OTT? Are they experiencing more growth with subscription or PPV?
Yeah. Oh, sure. There's no silver bullet answer here, but more so subscription. And again, that goes back to the community elements. Think of it almost like, magazine subscriptions. And, last year we actually signed up 2 woodworking channels, where that's a very niche audience, but you could see that being a magazine 20 years ago, or maybe 30 years ago now. But think of it more as a community when you're offering this subscription. It's, exclusive access or first access to content. And, it's a direct communication tool for them. We offer push notifications, for example. So on the church side, subscription for us, we've always done very well in that space. But what, my manager always says this, and sometimes I say it sounds a little salesy, but it's true that what we're trying to do is democratize video so that anybody can have their own Netflix. And that's really what this product is, so that churches can then reach global audiences, especially now more than ever, and have that intimate relationship. And then the first question, though, about the amount of content, we have help articles that can guide you through some tips, but it depends on how long the content is, how unique the content is, if you have an existing audience already or not. But more or less, we recommend launching with about 100 pieces of content. Again, lots of ways to unpack that: short form, long form, and exclusivity, things like that. But I would encourage you to go to the Vimeo website or even contact us, and I can send you some help articles and webinars on that topic specifically.
And the parking's so much easier. Greg had pointed out, I looked at the Edge TV site and I see it's not on all devices yet, like Apple TV. Is that an issue with Apple or with Vimeo?
Is it for me or Andrea?
Probably
I think it's
either.
both. I think
I'll just say, go ahead, Andrea.
Yes, that's good. I was just going to say, we do deliver to Apple TV. So I believe that the package that Edge TV, and correct me if I'm wrong, Spence, is, leaning into more and more distribution over time. So they've chosen the top platforms for their type of audience and content. And now they will continue as they grow to add more of those apps.
Yeah, and you go back to the earlier about launching, it'll take more to initially launch. It's going to take you more time because you're ingesting all the content, and the time frame for us to we'll decide when to add those other platforms on, and it's a cost decision as well as, and then it's just a time to market on that. Like I think you said, Andrea, it's like if we add Apple TV, it's going to be whatever days to get that developed. It's going to be very quick though, because all we're doing is developing the app. Everything else is done. So really it's a cost and then time to market. But then on a marketing perspective, we're marketing broadly for the brand, but then we can target each app. We can target the website, we can target each app. And so they all have different marketing elements to pull them in as a customer on that platform, or they can sign up on any platform and watch it elsewhere. So they can sign up on the website, but then watch it on any of the other apps that we have launched. And so we'll decide when we want to add those other ones on.
Yep. Cool. And because they have iOS, some of my clients who want to start with a more bootstrap mentality, with iOS, you can still AirPlay to your Apple TV. And so that's something that kind of holds over that viewer. It's not the most, fluid as if a dedicated app, but it does check that box so that then, you're launching with the most valuable apps. Roku has the least amount of churn. Apple TV does tend to be an older demographic. So it's just interesting to look at the different statistics around the apps and think of a launch plan. We're always here to give our suggestions, but there's lots of data out there that can help guide you to what makes most sense for you.
Very cool. And someone pointed out that MTV started with only 125 videos.
I love that.
That's great.
Question for Spence. Are you finding that long form or short form content is performing better for your channel? And based upon what we just talked about, are you seeing it play on different apps differently? Like short form gears tends toward one, and long form tends toward like the website?
Great question, and I'll have my data analyst dig into that. We've recently launched, so I have not dug into that data, but Andrea, I believe that data is available that we could measure that and see. And that data is going to be important to know, hey, we should be promoting long form on Roku and short form on iOS. I mean, those are all the things that will come into the marketing mix of what we'll be able to do, but we haven't analyzed that yet, but it's available.
Awesome.
Yep, we'll show attention indexes too, so you'll know, okay, content with these metadata tags have an attention index, of X amount of value versus content that is maybe 30 minutes, and with these categories, timing and categories of what content is performing, creating the most engagement, and tying it to the lifetime value of the customer. So Spence, we'll have to talk to your account manager.
Exactly.
Andrea, did we lose you? I think your audio.
I'm still here.
You're still there. Okay. Question from Paul Allen. Does Vimeo offer any live and responsive programming?
Yes. So responsive, I'm not sure what you mean exactly by that, but live programming, just to make sure we're talking about the same definition here, we offer live solutions, tools, the technology, but in terms of the content itself, the client's bringing the content, we're just the middleware that's going to help distribute it and go direct to the consumer.
Cool. Any issues with copyright, music and video clips? Sometimes folks, especially people in houses of worship have issues with YouTube tagging copyright claims. I know we've had even small chunks of dialogue from during a demo get flagged on YouTube for us.
Yeah, so on the Vimeo OTT site, it is behind a paywall. We are not actively seeking out content to be flagged. We more so are only responding from flags that are brought to our attention. So really it's like, are your customers going to report you? I don't know. But if there is an issue, we're going to work with you. We're not going to ban you from the platform. We're going to work with you, help you understand what happened and where. We also have really cool tools, though, like Vimeo Create, where we can help you automatically create short form video, and you can choose music that's already actually been cleared. But I hope that answers the question a little bit. We don't really take a stance on copyright for the OTT platform. It is on the responsibility of the client. Again, we're just the middleware helping you get the content out there.
Cool. Question from Vinny, which must have come in through the YouTube or the Facebook chat. Are there chat commenting or moderating features? I mean, chat commenting.
Yeah, we have forums and commenting available on web and mobile devices, very similar to like a Reddit forum where you can upvote. It's up to you whether you want to turn those on or not. We have found that nobody wants to type in any comments on TV apps. We barely like typing in our passwords. So the engagement, though, the highest level of engagements and interactivity in general, commenting or not aside, are happening on the web. And that's why we offer the template site. But if you choose to build your own site, we can support that as well. And that's where we see clients adding in, layers of engagement or e-commerce or more interactivity, because those actions take place on web more than any other platform.
Makes perfect sense. Question popped up. Hey, any plans to integrate with Sony's PlayStation? Saw that you mentioned Xbox.
Yeah, that's a really good question. We did originally, I believe a few years ago, were on PlayStation. We didn't see the type of engagement or signups with that performing. And so I think that's why we switched to Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. But it is something that we're eyeing. In a COVID world, all of these apps are changing and their success is. So it is something that's on the roadmap, but, definitely not until next year. Frankly, we just haven't seen the value for our clients there on those platforms.
Makes perfect sense. How can people search for content on Vimeo? Is it metadata based?
Sure. So just to be clear and call that out, Vimeo OTT and what we're talking about today is a completely separate platform from Vimeo.com. So I'm going to answer this as a Vimeo OTT question. We have metadata and custom metadata fields, so that if you're searching for content, you can do it by genre, or if it's in the description or title of the video, it will also surface that. We power the Criterion channel that has an extensive library, and what they've done is they've even added more complex search capabilities on their web version, and then just lean into our template approach for the apps.
Cool. Looks like our last question here is there a way to integrate IMDb, connecting talent that's involved in a particular production?
It's a good question. So not today on our template app approach, or app devices, I should say. Web, I haven't seen a client do it yet. A lot of the content that we're hosting and leveraging on our platforms is self-generated or self-made. And so it doesn't necessarily apply, but it is something that we've gotten at the, tier 1 media level request, and something we're definitely always thinking about. We're just very cautious of what we develop into the core platform. We usually are doing the testing A and B behind the scenes, and then based off what we find, launching it. So we found that the more complicated you make the apps or interactive, the less likely engagement happens or more frustration is created. So we're very cautious of how we model those apps. A good rule of thumb, though, of what we do model it after is the Netflix experience, because we believe that's something that everybody in almost any demographic is comfortable with. And the data shows when people want to watch video on devices, they want to watch video. And that's the number one important thing. So we're focused on, buffering issues, performance, and those items first and foremost.
Very cool. Well, we've run out of questions, even though we went over a little bit. We wanted to get all those wrapped up for everybody who was asking. My thanks to Spence and Andrea for joining me today. And, in terms of the platform, if you're here, like and subscribe. Why not? Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. If you got any questions about Vimeo, please don't hesitate to reach out to us here at Key Code Media, and have a great Thursday.